Hello, welcome to Blue Lizard Farm. Water rights are complicated in Nevada, and we need to have a basic understanding of those water rights. First, you got to find the water, buy the land, drill the well. Then you got to plant your cover crops. Then 2 of the last 5 years in cover crops counts for the NRCS Hoop House program, then apply for the Hoop House program. We're going to go see Carol Bishop, who is an extension agent, and she specializes in farm finances.
Hi, I'm Carol Bishop. I am the extension educator for Northeast Clark County. That is in the part of Clark County that is not Vegas. I'm located in the Moapa Valley in beautiful downtown Logandale. And my expertise and training is in agricultural economics. I can't grow anything, I can't raise anything, but if you're growing or raising something, I can come in and suck the numbers out of your head, get them down on paper, and see if you can continue to operate at least a break even, hopefully a profit. Because I have a vested interest in farmers and ranchers doing well because, as you can see, I like to eat.
What are the services that the Nevada Extension Service can provide to beginning farmers across the state?
Well, the Extension Service throughout the U.S. were started by the land-grant universities. Land-grant university history is because there was research going on. They were originally all agricultural and mining colleges. And it was, the purpose of extension was created to bring that knowledge and the research that was done at the colleges and universities to the public. That was the whole purpose of extension. So we have numerous things that we can assist with. We do research on new crops. We have research on how to better some of the crops that we have. Like in this particular station, we've been in existence for almost 100 years here in this valley. There is a variety of alfalfa called Moapa alfalfa that was developed here in this valley, and it's used quite widely across the western U.S. We also have resources to those links to things people need. Like I said, I don't know how to grow things, but you come to me, I will be able to find out the answers to what you need and direct you to those resources. Many extension offices also do soil testing. We have some here, but it's a very basic soil testing. We test for NPK, so nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, so basic soil. Funding. I also do look at assessors mapping for if people are trying to locate a farm or a place. I have experience in that. So Extension is willing to help anybody that walks in the door with almost every need they have. We're mandated by NRCS to help in 6 different areas, and agriculture is one of them.
So if a farmer or a new farmer had questions about soil on a piece of property,
Yes,
you have experts in the soil
yes,
science fields that you could point this farmer to get help
yes, yeah. I could do a basic test, and if that didn't answer the question of the problem, yes. Like I've had people come in with bug issues. We have a state entomologist. Because I do have the resources at the university available to me. And we have extension offices in almost all of the 16 counties in Nevada.
Sometimes you need to test your soil on your own. The tools that you have to do that, the pH is really important. And that with the right pH means you are able to make nutrients available to the plants. And so sometimes you're having problems, but you don't have time to, by the time you send off a soil sample and get it back, the crop may not be any good for harvest anymore. So I use a fairly inexpensive soil tester. It's great because it connects to my phone, so it records everything that I do. And you just put it in the soil, give it a twist to get down where you want to test. And give it a little time because it takes time for it to calculate what the pH is. So it's reading 7.3, which for some people back east may not be so great, but for us, that's not too bad. And so then I can hit save on my phone, write down what hoop house it is, save the results, and then I can use it later for analysis in the wintertime when I'm trying to figure out what our pH was throughout the year. The other really important test that I have is more for hydroponics and also testing for your nutrients, and make sure you're giving the right parts per million to your plants. And so I use this a lot in our hydroponic tomato houses. First, you have to test your water and find out how much dissolved solids in a pH that you, or not pH, in parts per million that you have. So mine is regularly between 450 and 475. So that means if I want to give the plants 100 parts per million of fertilizer, then once the mix is done and it's being dispensed to the plants, it should test at 550 to 575 parts per million. That's how you know you're giving the plants the right nutrients. I have, this is for basically for the soils. This is for the parts per million, and I have even a higher quality pH tester for testing the water once it comes out as nutrients, or once the nutrients have been combined, so that I can make sure that I'm giving my my tomatoes just the perfect pH. Water rights are complicated in Nevada, and we need to have a basic understanding of those water rights. Okay, so it's important to know that a culinary or domestic well. So if you buy land in Nevada and there is not a water district that supplies you with water, you are allowed to drill a culinary or a domestic well for flushing your toilets, your own personal garden, watering your trees, a little bit of grass, kind of a thing. You cannot, with that well, sell your excess produce based on how the law is written. You can water some animals. You're limited to 2 acre feet, but they don't, at this point, they're not forcing meters on these wells. So if you use a little bit more, most people in my area, I would guess, use less. So 1,800 gallons a day equates to about 1 acre of water. So it's a generous amount of water. But in order to sell from your small microfarm, you've got to have water rights. So each area and each basin is assigned a duty. The duty for my area is 5 acre feet, is my understanding. The duty for Pioche, I think, is 4 acre feet, and the duty for Las Vegas is 7. That's based on flood irrigating and an alfalfa field. Okay, that's how they based it. If you're a large alfalfa grower, that you have 5 acre feet. As efficiencies over the years have improved, the farmers have a hard time using that water and making their meter run, because if you don't use it, the state's going to take it back and they'll lose it, right? One of the first lines in the water laws of Nevada is that the water of Nevada belongs to the people of Nevada. Water rights are a commodity. They can be sold. So these farmers may have hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions in many cases, wrapped up in these water rights. With all that said, I think our best chance for these small farms to obtain water to use so that they can grow is from these over-allocated water authorities or districts at different points across the state, or approaching farmers. I've originally leased water from a farmer that I just leased 20 acre feet from them. So if these farmers are already pumping it down, well, let's transfer some of it to my point of diversion and let me use it and help you use it. We can use it for something successful. We just have to spend the time hunting this down. If you're passionate about growing vegetables or fruits or whatever it is your thing for a small microfarm, you just got to hunt these things down and try to find people that are willing to work with you. The state water engineer website has all of the water rights that are out and the owners listed, right? So it's not like you're just shooting in the dark. You can just start down the list, and in this basin you're considering buying land in, and say, hey, I'm considering doing such and such, and just start approaching farmers. I mean, you're going to get a lot of no's. Like I was successful in finding somebody that said yes. Absolutely. It depends on the plants and how much water they use. But most of the time in your hoop houses and greenhouses, you're going to be using drip type irrigation or sprinklers that are low flow and very efficient in their water use. Remember, I talked about the duty, and we grow on, so we have an acre and a half under plastic. That includes greenhouses and hoop houses. Then I have that acre out in front. And my own personal water use is included because it's all metered at the same well. I'm using less than 4 acre feet, or I should say less than 5 acre feet a year on an acre and a half. Now remember, the duty says I should be using 10 acre feet, but I can't see myself using more than 10 acre feet. That would be a lot. Outdoor growing, you're going to use more water than in a hoop house. And in a greenhouse, you can even become more efficient with water.
Okay, so what is step 2? One of the things that a lot of farmers talk about is, I can get grants. I can get grants. and my answer to that personally is that grants tend to drive a certain idea. They don't drive a farm. So if you have an idea of growing grapes on your farm, a grant might work for that, but for that avenue of your farm, because we're doing multiple products, right? It's not going to grow zucchini or whatever some of your other products are. So grants aren't typically a good revenue source for a farm. So what are some revenue sources that ideas that you can give to people that want to start a farm?
Okay, let me start out with the negative here, and let me reiterate what you just said. I know of 0 grants for starting a farm. Once you have started and established the farm, there are grants available for education. They're very small if you're trying out a new idea. But even with in those cases, there has to be an educational component. They are not going to just pay you to do something if the only person it's benefiting is you and your farm.
Right.
And so if you're not the kind of person that wants to hold classes on your farm about your new and improved idea, you do not depend. on grants for any funding whatsoever. That being said, there is an organization that you can get capital from. However, they like the FSA, Farm Service Agency, if you are considering buying a farm. They will lend money if you have some farming experience, like I was an intern on your farm for the last 5 years. Now I know enough about farming that I want to get my own farm. They are the last kind of go-to. You have to approach a bank first to have them either accept you or turn you down for a loan. If they turn you down, then FSA will work with you. FSA also does operational loans to help you buy equipment, necessary equipment. But once again, you have to have the financial ability to not only pay that back, but to have the collateral in case you go belly up. Now here's where the business plan and all of the accompanying financial paperwork comes in. Because to go to FSA to get a loan, they're going to want to see what your experience is. They're going to want to see a business plan. They're going to want to see your personal financial information. They're going to want to see a short-term, medium-term, and long-term projected incomes so they know that they can get paid back. And if all that is in order, then they do have very good rates because the USDA does want to encourage farmers. And so they are a very good resource if you have the necessary background to be able to get that paperwork together. You have the experience. If you don't and you're unable to get a loan through them because you don't have the experience or you don't have the financial background, there are people that you can either go to the private sector, see if you have somebody that rich uncle or some foundation or somebody that is willing to help sponsor you. Also, there's many farmers that are older farmers. The age of our farmers in this country is substantially increasing. And so there may be somebody willing to lease you a spot of ground, and that would be a good way to test drive to see if farming is for you. Taking over a lease, which in the West, the best part about that is that existing farmer is going to have water. And water rights are the end-all to be-all here in Western U.S. If you have no water rights, you don't have anything. Because using simply culinary water, it's very difficult with the amount of water that you need to turn a profit using city culinary water. Unless maybe you're doing a hydroponic operation and have some way to recycle or something. But then there's a lot of cost and capital outlay.
Let's go back to the talking about the FSA financing real quick. I know that the FSA has a mentoring program, so that if you're a farmer or wants to be a farmer, if you want to be a farmer and you don't have the experience, you can mentor with a farmer that does have experience.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that program at all?
I'm not. That is amazing.
Yes.
I am so very glad to hear that. There are so many helps I'm excited to hear about that particular one. I did not know about that, but there's so many helps out there because we need our farmers. And there's multiple resources available for anybody wanting to start a farm. There's how to get started, how to write a business plan, how to do figure out your finances, even things through a rural tax on how to help with farmers' taxes, and all the ins and outs. There's multiple, especially through the land-grant universities and through the USDA various agricultural agencies. There's FSA, the Farm Service Agency. There's NIFA. There's the Agricultural Statistics Service to see what kind, give you prices. There's numerous agencies that have information, and educational institutions that have the information out there that want to help.
If you like the content here, please subscribe. If you have questions, comment down below.